All right, guys, we're going into discussion points. That's a sub-segment by my co-host here, Mr. Durden Godfrey. He has something that he's prepared, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to riff off of what he's saying, and we're going to see where we get.
You can respond when I'm done, but
respond.
This is I'm going to the cam. I'm going to the monologue.
All right, I'm out of here. All right.
Okay, I have and I have written this, so I'm gonna read this exactly what I'm not gonna try to go off script here because I thought very hard about this argument, and it's an argument with myself. So,
is it okay if I write points down while you?
Yeah. All right, here we go. Shallow or deep? As I was watching Joker, I kept going back and forth between, is this a deep psychological thriller that serves as an abstract commentary / cautionary tale about mental health and societal inequality? Or is it a shallow, shock and awe, paint by numbers for a gritty Taxi Driver meets Fight Club drama that shamelessly makes themes out of triggering subjects that are essentially clickbait keywords for the current times, such as mental health and social unrest, and it just irresponsibly dances around these topics with vague generalities. Joker came out in the peak of Black Lives Matter, and it essentially forces the perspective of the straight, white, delusional male upon its audience, creating, at best, a sense of empathy towards a deranged criminal, and at worst, leaves the audience idolizing, which has happened a lot after this movie came out, Arthur Fleck. Fetishizing his persona, much like what has happened with Tyler Durden in Fight Club, a character that was literally created to emphasize the problem with hypermasculinity, not become a figurehead to be worshipped, which he happened to be. With all that said, I want to take that back with a however. I want to believe it has a good heart with the sound intentions. This movie is nothing more than a spotlight on how mental health issues can be a silent killer. The moment where he takes his mom's file and the flashback happens with her talking to the therapist or the police or whoever she was talking to saying,
I never heard him cry. He's always been such a happy little boy.
It was such a heartbreaking revelation with a reaction performed perfectly by Joaquin Phoenix depicting how the biggest struggles are internal and not all wounds are visible. Joker shows how the system can so easily neglect what is becoming a growing percentage of the population. It gives us a worst case scenario for what can happen when that internal struggle has external repercussions, much like the Joker's laugh, this busting out of him like something that's trying to be held in but finds a way to emerge to the surface. And there's this added layer is how Arthur's mom, she's dealing with her own mental issues. She's obviously delusional. It says in her report that she was actually lobotomized, but Arthur, a victim himself, shows her zero mercy. That's where I went back and forth with Joker this comes from a personal, projecting a little bit from my own experience. It's like doing a movie like I'm gonna kill someone this Friday or Everything Means Nothing. It's the writer, the director, there's a lot, sometimes there are liberties taken where, every time you sit down to write something, you're not always feeling as creative or responsible as when you started or the next time you sit down to write. So sometimes, especially with psychological dramas and thrillers, you can really easily get away with being, shying away from details just for the sake of being abstract, and it plays off as mysterious when really it's just kind of lazy writing. So you leave it up to the audience. During interviews at the Venice Film Festival premiere, when asked about siding with Arthur Fleck, Phoenix told press that any questions they might have about the Joker will be left up to the audience to decide. He said he was attracted to the aspect of the movie because films, especially genre films, have a clear-cut hero and villain with black and white motivations. I like that. I agree with that. I think there should be more nuanced characters in movies that makes the movie more interesting, but I feel like at least the creators of the film should have a unified vision as far as what the character's motivations are, what the character's arc is, all of that. But this doesn't, like we said before, the director had a different vision for it than the actor. Even Joaquin Phoenix says he has his own opinions and thinks he knows what they are, but wouldn't want to impose those opinions on anyone who hasn't. Your job as the person that's bringing this character to life is to impose those opinions. Make us believe what you believe your character to be. Zazie Beetz, she was asked by Variety whether or not the movie sympathizes with Arthur Fleck. Beetz doesn't deny that Joker has a sympathetic viewpoint, but argues that it's less towards Arthur and more towards Arthur's predicament on a broader scale. She said it's kind of an empathy toward isolation and an empathy towards what is our duty as a society to address people who slip through the cracks in a way. adding, so is it empathy for that or just an observation on personalities who struggle? That I agree with. I got into a bit of a tiff with our friend Tango Jordan when the movie came out. He kind of looked at it as this, like, it was like a dog whistle for...
Don't quote him right now, don't quote him wrong. He's
I'm
on the
saying
right article.
It was like, he said something along the lines of it being kind of like a dog whistle for white supremacists at a time when white supremacists did not need that. And I argued with my friend just recently passing away due to mental illness.
Oh, okay, dude. So I'm just gonna go ahead and admit it. I thought about killing myself, but I moved right through it, man. I just moved right through it, and everything is good, man. Everything's just good. If you ever have the thought, just don't do it.
I don't, dude. I'm very worried about it. Can you listen? Could you just hear me out for 30 seconds? As do you believe?
Actually, I gotta go, man. I gotta go.
Hold on, man. Wait.
I will talk to you. I will talk to you in a little while. Okay.
Dude, can you answer me one thing? Do you believe? Fuck.
I was defensive about this because I saw the movie as what she sees it as, is like a cautionary tale for when mental health issues go unnoticed and uncared for. My last point is that I was totally proven wrong, at least to an extent that, you know, the character of Joker is fleshed out enough that Adrian Rain, a neurocriminologist at the University of Pennsylvania, he said he was stunned by the authenticity in the film's depiction of the psychology of the criminal mind. Studying the cause of crime and violence for over 40 years, Rain found Joker to be a great educational tool about making a murderer. He even diagnosed Fleck with schizotypal personality disorder, and now uses the film as part of a course that he teaches at the University of Pennsylvania. So, and I agree with Warner Brothers' description of the film. They said it's an exploration of a man disregarded by society that is not only a gritty character study, but also a broader cautionary tale. So I went into it with this skepticism, like coming from my own experience, like, is this as sincere as it needs to be, or all these vague generalities just lazy writing, knowing that, you know, it'll just create more theories? And I think I was wrong. I still would like a more concise vision as far as what the Joker is and who he is, but at the same time, we're dealing with an unreliable narrator. So is it really fair for me to expect that?
Arthur Fleck is society's bastard. There's no other way around it. When you talk about mental illness, it has no color. Things affect people so differently. And so the film, what it does, as far as to at least, you know, as you were speaking, I at least wanted to, you know, try to play devil's advocate and, you know, come on the other side of some of those points. And the first thing I want to say is that, again, mental illness affects everyone differently. So what I think the film, or should I feel it made me feel, was that yeah, we can look at this as a film that, well, we can feel pity for Arthur Fleck and this, that, and the other, but Arthur Fleck had no color. Arthur Fleck never showed you a bone of racism. He never showed you a bone of, when Thomas Wayne looks at him and says, "Oh, what do you want, money?" I don't want money. At the end, and he's like, "Be decent people." Mm-hmm. So to me, Arthur Fleck, you know how I say, you remember the commercial, "I am Michael Jordan." Arthur Fleck is the everyday man, and it takes courage to look past the color of his skin. It takes courage to look past, dealing in everything we're dealing with in society right now. Because guess what? At the end of the day, I refuse to let, no matter what we are going through in society, strip me of at least looking at something with an open eye or a third eye, as we talk about. So what the film does for me, I cannot say it's lazy writing. Even if it was lazy writing, it was shrouded and hid way under there, because guess what? You can be affected by mental illness and so can another person. But if y'all both talk to me in a bar, talk to me in a classroom, y'all can tell me two different things. Mm-hmm. Because there's people who are affected by it from a third degree of separation, second degree. Well, it's them, that, the other. So again, for me, the film was courageous. It tackled subject. It wasn't taboo to me. They weren't all on no racism, stuff like that, but they really tackled how many times society had dropped. And if anything, if you do want to play not the race card, but if you do want to look at it from a race perspective, it goes to show you, you thought they didn't care about us. They don't give a fuck about anybody.
They don't give a shit about people like you, Arthur. And they really don't give a shit about people like me either.
Here is a white male having to explain his problems to a black psychiatrist who's telling him, I don't know what to tell you, the system fucked up. And when you say, well, was it lazy writing? To me, no. The beat that she gave, really, in my mind, what she was saying, I don't want to hear your fucking problems. Don't you? This is a line for problems. So yeah, we could look at it that way, but at the end of the day, no, I don't think the film did that. It just showed you, like it says, that it gave me a V for Vendetta feel when they were in the crowd, the rice. We are all clowns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm definitely not suggesting that there is lazy writing. It was just a suspicion
you did say
in the back of my mind for my own projection.
Well, speaking of your suspicions, I'm not going to let you off the hook that easy, because really quick, you also in your earlier point said that, hey, you love how they left it up into interpretation, and then later on you say you wish they would have wrapped it up. So that goes back to show you, like I say, in 3 seasons he's wanted to toe the line on these endings, and he doesn't know what he wants. It's like whatever they give him, he doesn't want.
This is totally different. I want to be able to make up my own mind, but I want to know that I'm making up my own mind with information that is pointed, that is actually there to take me somewhere. Because if I can't trust the equation, I can't rely on the answer that I come up with. I can't be happy with it. And so there are times within the Joker where I'm like, was this number tossed into the equation for filler, or was
name something? Give me an example right now, because I'll combat it. I'll give you the other side of it, because I can't find that in there.
It's not really moments. It's more so
subjects,
themes. Yeah.
What theme? Name a theme.
Like the generalities about rich versus poor, or
rich must die.
Yeah.
Rich must die. It's have versus have nots. That's been since the beginning of time. So it's rooted in the film. Next.
Sometimes the themes just seem a little too easy. Like they literally went into a keyword. Like what were the most popular keywords of 2018, 2019? Okay. Let's address
I request
all
collaboration,
those, but barely.
I request collaboration. Did you not in your pre-epilogue of your notes say that this was a film that was based off of a comic book, and were comics not used to talk about things that were happening politically? As I mentioned in our first episode of our show, Black Panther, when they did the Magneto and Professor X, it was based off Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Mm-hmm. And so Detroit Red, shout out Godfather Harlem, but that's based off of that. So it's a story, and art begets art. Art imitates life. So yes, these words may be taboo, but to the Levertons, they love these words. They talked about it, so it must mean so. We got to touch it from every part of society. So I don't think it was lazy. You can't get this film like that with lazy writing. To me, it wasn't that Joaquin just blew me away without. It was a perfect blend of writing, acting, storytelling, and me not. They didn't make me suspend disbelief, is what I am saying.
Mm-hmm. But there were just moments where it's like, what are you really saying here that I haven't heard?
I just wish I knew those moments you were talking about so I can give you those answers.
Just the feeling of like, Thomas Wayne is automatically, we should automatically accept him as like a villain in this story, purely because he has a lot of money and he's done well.
No, we shouldn't accept him as that, but what they did was take a chance. In every story that's ever been told, Thomas Wayne was always the good guy, the smart guy, that guy. They said, you know what? That's from their perspective, but if I'm telling the story from a mentally disturbed person, he is the bad guy. Because Arthur Fleck always, see, I can give you more, so keep coming.
No, I'd say that I like, there's something that I really appreciated kind of in that vein, is that it's kind of going back on what I said actually, but I like that everything isn't spoon fed to the audience. Like I like my what I mean by that specifically is not knowing what's true and what's false. I do like that aspect of it when I consider that it's the narrative of somebody that can't be trusted, but you're also dealing with people with unlimited resources that we are being told can't be trusted, like the Waynes. Specifically, whether or not what Penny is and Arthur believe is true to be true, that Thomas Wayne really, was the father.
Did you question this? Did you question that? You remember we talked about the movie Shooter with Mark Wahlberg, and then that senator at the end, towards the end of the movie says, "Sonny, it ain't the Shiites, it ain't the Giites, it ain't the blacks, the whites, the greens, the yellows." He says the have versus the have-nots. That's what's rooted in this film.
But I do like the ambiguity of when it comes to that. But there's when when Arthur is at the Murray show.
How about another joke, Murray?
When he turns that photo over of his mom smiling, it says, "I've always loved your smile," and it's signed TW.
Right.
So
we'll get to that.
That kind of lends to the idea like, oh, everything she said is true. So now that leaves you with the audience like, okay, obviously Thomas Wayne has the resources to fake an adoption, to fake all that paperwork, to make that. But the more likely scenario is that Penny could have just signed it TW because she's delusional. But you don't know. I like the fact that the movie doesn't definitively answer that.
In the history of payoffs, and excuse my language, bitch get out of town. That's why they call it bitch get out of town. He had enough money to send her to Guam. To where did he go at? Where did he go at in Golden Child? What's the city? Quebec. It wasn't Quebec. I don't even remember. He had enough money to send her anywhere. Why would he keep her in the city? It costs more money to make up. It's more dangerous for her to stay there in that store. It stayed there. So that lens, she signed those fucking letters. Don't get me started. She signed those letters. She wrote those letters and she signed it back of that fucking picture. Let's move on. Because
the cool thing about it is that we get to have this discussion now, yes. And there's no like, you can't turn to the back of the magazine and flip it over and see the correct answer.
Yeah, you can.
We can present all of the evidence, and I believe what you're saying. Like, I think you're saying.
If we're right, then they're wrong.
Well, they don't actually say anything. They say.
Who are they?
The filmmakers.
But they are saying it. It's duality.
I mean, they put these little morsels of like Easter eggs in there that make you.
You bastard! You finna make me do this. In Vanilla Sky, what was the guy? One guy said then on one end of the spectrum, "You're not real," and what does the other guy say? He believes it innately. I'm real.
Mm-hmm.
You sick fuck. I hate you. Kids, give Vanilla Sky another chance.
Something that I thought was really cool in that interview where Thomas Wayne's on TV when he says,
"What kind of coward would do something that cold-blooded? Someone who hides behind a mask."
Oh, if you want
your son,
to do
your fucking son.
I have an issue.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, this is petty. This is petty, but it still bothers the shit out of me.
Is this room for improvement or an issue?
This is just an issue that I have in general. This is because it's so petty. I'm not gonna put it in the room for improvement. When Murray plays clips of Arthur performing at an open mic night on his show, I have questions. 1, when the fuck was that recorded? 2, who the fuck recorded it? 3, what the fuck did they record it with? Nobody had cell phones yet. Even though there's a shop somewhere in Gotham that's offering to fix cell phones. Certainly, if somebody did have a cell phone, miraculously, it did not have video recording capabilities. Did somebody lug a studio camera into an open mic night without being noticed? Or maybe the club had cameras already set up. But why are they recording nobodies on an open mic night with TV studio quality television, like video, and like pristine audio feed? I don't think any of that is logical. It doesn't make sense. And for a moment that's so substantial, like in the catalyst of the arc of Arthur becoming the Joker, for it not to make logical sense that it could have even happened. Unless it's all a story he's telling.
I was finna say, I request elaboration. You're fighting yourself, man.
Yes, unless it's a lie told by a psychopath.
Which it is. Well, no, it's a lie, but it's not told by a psychopath.